Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to look at Dragon's Bluff, one of the many games you can play in the Book of Dragons, which is a card game system that is language independent, colorblind friendly, and it has 18 or more games by 16 or more designers. So Dragon's Bluff is a 3 to 4 player bluffing game designed by Martin Wallace. I'm going to give you a quick overview that will give you some context and then teach you how to set up and play the game. So let's get going. Dragon Bluff is a bluffing game for 3 to 4 players where each person is going to secretly get a secret objective dragon. You'll be getting the most points by placing cards underneath your secret objective, but be careful because if someone else challenges it and it doesn't match, you'll be losing points. But if it does match, then the challenger will be losing points. If you're in a tight spot, you can play cards in front of yourself for guaranteed minus points, but not as many as you'd get if you were correctly challenged. But be careful because if the time's right, a player that might be the Hydra secret objective can reveal it, end the game, and score huge points. So let's see if you've got what it takes to win Dragon's Bluff. To set up, you're going to gather some cards from the draw deck. So from the total deck of cards, you are going to draw one of the Hydra cards. It's the dragon with 3 heads. You're then going to select any 6 pairs of dragons. It does not matter which pairs they are, as long as you have 6 different pairs and none of these being the Hydra. You'll then take one of the cards of each of the 6 different dragons, not including the Hydra, and place them out in the middle of the table as a display. You'll then take the rest of the cards that you had set aside, which is one of each of those dragons that's shown in the display, and the Hydra card. You'll take these cards and you will shuffle them together. Once shuffled, deal one of these cards face down to each player. This will be your secret objective for the game. You can look at it obviously, but do not show it to anybody else. Now depending on the amount of players, there'll be either 3 or 4 cards left over that we have not dealt out from the ones we set aside at the start of the game. These cards, without looking at them, will get shuffled back into this large draw deck. Deal each player 7 cards face down. They can look at these, but do not show them to other players. After each player has been dealt 7 cards, there'll be some cards left over from that draw deck. Remove these cards from the game without looking at them. The object of the game is to have the most points in the end. You'll be getting positive points for having cards under your secret objective goal at the end of the game that were never challenged. And you'll be getting negative points if you claim this card to be this dragon, but someone challenges you and it's not. But if someone challenged you and it was the right dragon, then they'll be getting the negative points. Now at the beginning of the game, each player is going to have their secret objective card face down in front of them and their 7 cards which they'll hold in their hand secret from others. The first player is the one to first state that they're the first player, otherwise the youngest player goes first. On your turn as the active player, you have 2 choices. The first choice is to take a card from your hand and place it face down underneath any one of the display dragons. Then the player just to the left of you in a clockwise manner will have the first opportunity to challenge you. If this player challenges, they think that the card that you placed here does not match that dragon. If they challenge, this will get flipped up. If it does match, then you were telling the truth and the player that challenged you must take this card and place it face up in front of themselves. In this case, it's this dragon face up. This is their secret objective card, and face up cards like this are minus 2 points at the end of the game. However, if that first player to the left of the active player challenged this card and it did not match, then the player who placed this card would have to take it face up in front of themselves and it would be minus 2 points for them. Once a challenge has been resolved, the player to the left of the active player will now be the active player. If the player to the left of the active player decided not to challenge this card, it would then move to the player to the left of that player clockwise, and that player could either challenge or pass. This would continue until one of those players either challenges and does what we just showed you before, or if it gets all the way back to the active player and no one's challenged, then this card stays put face down just like this, and the player to the left of that active player now becomes the active player for the next turn. There's no restriction as to how many cards can be under any single dragon, so the next player could, if they wanted to, place a card here, and then that would go around for possible challenges. Now on the active player's turn, if they did not want to add a card to the display area, they could play a card from their hand in front of themselves face down like that. Be sure not to confuse this with your secret objective card. The easiest way to do that is to keep cards that you've played in front of you at a 90-degree turn. Now these cards will be worth -1 point at the end, which isn't great, but it's better than having someone challenge you and getting -2 points for being wrong. Turns will continue through this structure until one of two things happens. Either the players have all run out of cards in their hand and they have no more to place, or when the player that has the Hydra secret objective card reveals themselves. Now this can only happen when another player, other than that Hydra player, has at least 3 face-up penalty cards and the Hydra player has less face-up penalty cards than that player. And due to that randomized setup at the beginning of the game, you're never quite sure if there really is a Hydra secret objective card out there, so in all games, you're a little leery of getting at least 3 penalty cards when playing. Once the game ends, each player will flip over their secret objective card. In this case, we were the Ice Dragon. Each card underneath your secret objective card in the display area is 3 victory points, regardless of if these cards actually matched or not. So in this case, we would have a total of 6 points for the Ice Dragon. Now this was my secret objective card. Each face-up penalty card that I took, by way of falsely accusing and challenging, is -2 points. This is -4 points in total here. Any face-down penalty card that I placed there myself on my active turn was -1 point. So I have a total of -5 of all of these penalty cards. And since I had a +6, -5, I have 1 point at the end of the game. When scoring for the player that has the Hydra secret objective card, all penalty cards in front of that player act just as they do for all other players, meaning every face-up penalty card is worth -2 points apiece, and every face-down penalty card is worth -1 point apiece. So we have a total of -5 points here for this Hydra player. However, if this player revealed early to end the game, they get 10 points, minus any of these penalties, which we just showed was -5, so this player would have a total of 5 points. If the Hydra player did not reveal early to end the game, they'll get 1 point for each face-up penalty card in front of all other players. This is a 3-player game, and we have the Sun Dragon was one of the other players, and the Shadow Dragon was the other players. These were their secret objective cards. Each of them had 3 face-up penalty cards. That's a total of 6 face-up penalty cards for all the players. So you take that 6 points that Hydra player got, minus the 5 penalty points, and they would get 1 point. The player with the highest points wins even if the highest score is 0 or a negative number. If you'd like to play a long variant, you could at the end of the game shuffle all the cards back, start over again, and play 3 total rounds. Whoever has the top score from all 3 combined rounds is the winner. Well, I hope this helped you dive into Dragon's Bluff faster than if you were to read the rulebook on your own. If you have additional questions, I've placed a link below me in the description of this video, and if you place your question there, not only will I be notified, but so will the publisher, who might also be able to help out.